Family of Light by Barbara Marciniak. Chapter 10. Legends in the Cosmos. Around 500 years ago, your European ancestors were confronted with the fact that Earth was round, not a flat surface. They were in peril of falling off. They had to grasp that they were living in a far more expansive realm than they had ever imagined. Even though ancient maps of Earth had always existed, with some showing Antarctica without the ice caps and islands in the northern regions, no one knew for certain what was out there because the real knowledge had been lost or burned. Ignorance prevailed as separation became the mode of influence in your world. Separate the people, give them a false divinity, and tell them their false divinity is the only one. Today, humankind has over 200,000 divinities and/or religions that are all separated and keeping you all separated, and each one says it's the best one. Yet, during this beginning of the age of Aquarius, there is great opportunity for unity. From our experience, we contend that wherever consciousness finds itself, it must locate and immerse itself there. You each have a name and an address and many different numbers for your self-identification. And yet some of you are afraid that through computer systems, your names and numbers will be used to identify and locate you anywhere and at any time. From our perspective, you are so much more than letters and numbers. You are energy. And now that the concept of remote viewing has made it into your public awareness, you should all know that anyone is able to be located at anywhere and any time. You are all the family of light, whether you are a cousin's cousin, one branch removed, or one of the staunchest of patriarchs and matriarchs. It makes no difference, for you are destined to know what we share with you. As we see it in the Book of Earth, the current test is to understand that you are all part of a genetic experiment. And as energies and entities are received by you and presented to you, you can each choose them in different ways. Yet we see the bridge that you build, a bridge from everywhere and nowhere that allows time jumpers to enter and influence the outcome of this great era of creativity, where reality will be re-imprinted and set into motion for a period of time. The influence of the stars and the heavens is important for you to recognize. The stars and all of the planets influence the amount of light you receive, and light is information. Obviously, your greatest source of light is the sun, the father of all life on earth. But your next greatest influence has enchanted and entertained you for eons, the moon, who modulates and influences your growth. You will learn to communicate with this satellite to a much greater degree when you understand that the moon herself has a story to tell, a story that holds many of the missing keys to the unfoldment of your consciousness. The vast heavens are filled with a movement that has been recorded in calendars of stone from around the planet. Stones placed on the ground pointing at the sky, pointing out the solstice and equinox, as well as noting various star systems and planetary motions. Your ancestors understood cosmic principles that some of you may laugh at today, thinking them unimportant or silly, yet they were able to live with their cosmic cousins, the star beings, the celestial visitors who came from time to time and through the dimensions. As the great geisha fan of existence unfolds into this time of immense power and change, consider what you will do with that new amount of power. Do you dream of being a time jumper? Perhaps caught up in the corridors of time, seating yourself everywhere and thinking no one will ever notice? The gods themselves have been doing this. Yet everything is connected and nothing happens without consequences. Remote viewing is not limited by anything. Little fragments of the creator gods get separated everywhere throughout time on millions of planets, over billions and trillions and quadrillions of years beyond what the human mind can even conceive. And even though the separation is immense, it is still part of a vast intelligence that actually monitors itself and stays connected to all parts of itself because that is its power. The energy that comes to you, as we have said, is designed and planned. As a genetic experiment, you are a small fraction of the vastness of existence, a speck. However, as we have also said from our point of view, you are a priceless speck, a unique jewel, majestically and magically magnificent. Now, a quest for the truth and answers always leads to greater questions, as you are learning. And yet it is this questing that truly imbues you, and us too, with the spark of zest for life. When you lose interest in the place where you find yourself, then the game is pretty much over. Many of you wonder what you will do in a world activated by this newly incoming celestial energy. How will you live? Where will you work? What will you do? Your real work is to expand your consciousness, allowing this new celestial energy to change and move through you. And when it changes your old ways of thinking, then the patterns of your life will stop repeating themselves and you will be open to new possibilities. Today, and in the past few days, in this past week and this past month, how many repetitive patterns have you done? If your dramas are repeating themselves, step back, take a look, and realize that this area of your life needs to change. Changing involves giving up specific thoughts, certain feelings, actions, and behaviors, not to mention substances. And seeing these thoughts, actions, and behaviors as beliefs about reality. Give them up! Many of you are often glued shut like a little seed with a hard shell. Although, as you know, when the shell cracks, the little starseed lets go of what it no longer needs, reaching upwards for more light, for more rays of the sun, more information and rays of cosmic change. It is important to realize that those who encourage you to be in fear of change influence the kind of energies you put out and receive. When you are in fear, the vibration you transmit has a jagged edge to it. When you are feeling confident and faith and love, you are open to receive more power. And when you are humble at the same time, your field becomes strong and expansive and magnetic. A humble recognition of the power of power, as well as clear codes of conduct, is an essential map of understanding that will help you assess what lies ahead and gives you courage to face the future. Are you humble? Do you have clear codes of conduct? We look at the book of Earth and see probabilities, and we will say this. There is a point in this infamous nanosecond of time, the 50-year period between 1987 and 2037, that you are so privileged to have been reincarnated into. There is a point here, and the point is to transmute yourself from dense beings living in fear to the highest of frequency entities living in love. You are being observed from entities all around the galaxy. In the past, some of them came to destroy you or trip you up or fool you or block you or limit you, but that is not the case anymore. We are here to amplify and bring about the energetic changes that will enliven your genetic line. Many people do not understand what is occurring, and that is fine. They may even think it's unfair to be subjected to a celestial plan. And whose plan was it anyway? We have often been mentioning the gods and your ancestors and reptilians, and we do so quite ambiguously to avoid over-defining them, so as to allow your timelines time to define, and to allow your DNA to naturally upgrade, and to allow the window of your third eye to open, that place that you have just learned to energize with the ever-flowing figure 8 of infinity, energized to help you see inside where you have come from, where you are going, and the majesty of the cosmic plans you are entwined in. We have noticed when looking at the book of Earth that within that mythical nanosecond, the closer you got to the year 2000, the more difficult it appeared to be to access Earth and various timelines. It became tricky and sticky for us time jumpers to even take a peek and see what was happening. For it seems that certain frequencies have, let us say, set up roadblocks. And that is fine. It's a free will universe. It tells us that you had to deal with what you had created. Yet for those of you who have a connection to the vistas of higher consciousness and celestial thinking, where you feel your link to the spiritual world as a rightful inheritance of humankind, and where you feel the right to live peacefully in your most ordinary day-to-day lives, you people know that these lines will never be closed. They are rich with life and exquisitely encoded to always be open for you. However, you must seek them out. The closer that nanosecond got to the year of 2012, the more difficult it was for time jumpers to come in, as well as for anyone to view that section of the Book of Earth to see what was transpiring. In some cases, there was only a void, as if certain portions of the Book of Earth had been blacked out or censored perhaps, or even sections of the page torn off. Roadblocks for protection or defense. It's all the same part of the game. It makes little difference whether the plan is one of the family of light or the family of dark, since each family is actually part of the same family, which you must remember you are too. In days long past on your planet, there were many stories and tales of dragons and magicians, of beings who flew in from the heavens, as well as humans who invoked those beings from the heavens and then were taken up into the sky. These tales have peppered your legends, yet in most cases the moderns of today believe these stories are mere figments of ancestral imagination. Perhaps by visiting museums you will allow yourself to reconsider the information that lays there. So be open to the impulses of knowledge that can come through you. As the energies and entities flow into and around the earth, be in wonder, like children first learning about the world. Wonder about the unfoldment of knowledge, rather than pretending you know all about it. There is an old saying in the Book of Earth, and it appears again and again. The more you learn, the less you know. And that saying is found in other books of other planets that tell about existence in other places where you may find yourself with other names and other bodies and a different consciousness, by the way. Remember, dear soul, it is your own personal fiduciary's job, your higher self's job, your guardian angel's job to keep your books in line and manage them for you in what you may call the Akashic libraries, as well as to keep you informed in an honest way as to what connects you to the day-to-day business of life. Nonetheless, and understandably, you are sometimes overwhelmed. You bounce checks and run out of money, or just forget to take the garbage out on the right day. You are recycling, you're paying bills, you're doing the laundry and the dry cleaning and shopping for groceries and cooking and cleaning and picking up the kids. These activities occupy your daily lives, but now you're coming into a time of change where you will no longer have to do many of those. You will not mourn the past, although some of you pine for the good old days. Yet you're ignoring that the good old days are being made in the present. The here and now, the only place where you will ever find yourself, is where we want you to be, ripe, full, and alive, because you are presently the star seedling, the kernel and the sprout of what you will become. Much of celestial existence is focused on you at this time. However, there are legends in the cosmos, just as there are legends on Earth, and cosmic legends speak of this time of change and refer to you as a gem of the genetic library tucked away, an experiment made for a just-in-case day of rain. And you, this little genetic experiment, after having been created, was fought over, and then traded, and then honored, and then forgotten, and then valued, and then given away. You have experienced all of these events in the collective consciousness that surrounds your globe, while your eyes have been turned to the ground for your daily living. 500 years ago, your ancestors could not have been called upon to have their DNA upgraded in the way that yours are now being. In the Chronicles of Time, in the Book of Earth, these opportunities for global awakening are extremely rare. As we have said, the cycle you find yourselves in is the 26,000-year precession of the Equinoxes, which in your minds has been divided into 12 eras. And the imprint of 12 has a profound effect on your culture. Clocks and calendars and other configurations of 12 are found everywhere. You carry an imprint that organizes your mental world around the number 12, which then in turn affects the core of your mind. And it appears to us that as that nanosecond closed on the year 2012, you became ready to move to the next counting of time. You must realize time is arbitrary and never definitive. However, everything is significant and somehow connected in time. Even randomly occurring phenomena like the placement of the moon in perfect configuration with the sun, so that during eclipse they appear to be of the exact same size. And even though there are plans within plans, meaning some are secret, do not think that the family of dark has the final plan, and nor do the family of light. So you may wonder who made the final plan, and who or what is the maker. Well, the Maker is the great force you are required by destiny and self-decree to become for yourselves and for the success of the experiment. You are the gods' little secret tucked away in time, and they wait to see if you can change yourselves from a lower density into a higher in this mythical nanosecond in their terms. In yours, perhaps it takes a lifetime or even longer, but a lifetime enriched and extraordinary above and beyond any ordinary existence any of you can recall. You have an exquisite opportunity to create a completely unique kind of life and to bring purposefulness and meaning to all life on Earth. Cosmic legends are full of the tale of you humans in this time. Just as your legends on Earth are filled with ancient tales of magicians, at this juncture in time you are looked upon as magicians yourselves. The whole lot of you, not just a few. The heavens hold the rich imprint of electromagnetic aliveness, and as you move through space, spiraling along your little planet in your little solar system, in a small Milky Way galaxy, all traversing new territory and all evolving together. Guess what? This territory has been planned for you all to encounter, one that will recode your DNA in this lifetime to reconnect you to the multi-dimensional intelligence that exists beyond your biology and which is your sovereign divine inheritance. We have said that the Book of Earth is mainly made up by ordinary men and women, most of whose names never appear in any history books, people who never led battles or coups, yet the richness of their existence, their love they had for each other and the animals and the plants, and their skills and abilities were imprinted in the blood that they passed along to you. Remember, your ancestral lineage is rich, and it is there for you to pick and choose from to decide which aspects of power and wisdom and knowledge and creativity you wish to cultivate and evolve. Rule breakers and systems busters are often the ones who explore new territory, and some rules are made to be broken, especially those that inhibit your freedom and tell you what to think instead of encouraging your creativity and your own thinking and your own perceptions as part of the loving whole. The maker of the plan, above and beyond the plans of the family of light and the family of dark, is the force of love. All of this may appear to be an enigma, a paradox to baffle your ego, and it is. You are legends in the making, and you have already created your own legends because, as we have said, periods of time can be approached from any direction. although every once in a while a fragment of time can appear to be quarantined. And in that case, warning signs are posted saying, "This timeline is overloaded and blocked," like you might see on a certain website on your internet. Your computers and internet can serve as a model of sorts for time jumping, although real time jumping is much more fantastic. As you expand your consciousness, you build constructs outside of yourself to mirror the greater workings of existence. Thus, your computers and your internet, and now your quantum computational devices, are merely mirrors for what's inside your mind. Human creativity works this way, yet so often you create mindless things without wit or wisdom. You've become so enamored of 3D inventions that you miss the purpose of creativity, which is to present you with a model of the universe. The U-inverse. Again, we mentioned that you are biological beings of impeccable design. If you grasp this truth, then you will build a bridge of light of great strength and will weave around and through the darkness, leaving the family of dark to discover itself and to eventually realize that to create destruction and control is to control the course for self-destruction. Through the celestial cosmic calendar and the timing of events, this truth is coming home to roost, so to speak. Have you ever noticed that your moon makes 13 cycles in one of your years? Yet your modern calendar focuses on a solar year of 12 months, with uneven numbers of days in a confusing pattern. In every one of your years there are 13 new moons and 12 full moons, and the following year is 13 full moons and 12 new moons. Every year, 13 full moons, 12 new. The following year, 13 new moons, 12 full. 13, 12, 13, 12, 13, 12. Contemplating the significance of the number 13 as a hidden mystery will bring an understanding of what has been influencing you. Although 13 has been considered a number of bad luck and evil, or maybe because it has been considered bad luck and evil, when you search deeply into it, you will find that it holds a very powerful key for decoding the consciousness of humankind. The builders of your bridge of light will accomplish much, although they certainly have many challenges to face in the years ahead. Remember, dear souls, it never pays to attack, to condemn, to blame, or destroy another. It is truly to your benefit as family of light to take on this awesome task and to be gracious with the intention of finding solutions. You are not to ignore challenges or turn your back on difficulties, and by looking at the purpose of the family of dark, you will see a need to heal. The time has come that you are called upon to be great visionaries and to imagine an outcome that may have seemed impossible until very recently, and to trust yourselves with a faith that seems to go beyond what you could have ever imagined. On every continent of the earth, chaos will increase. Chaos can arouse fear. However, fear is a choice. In times past, and in times simultaneous, and even in times of the future, there are those who choose fear. Yet, not all of your ancestors did. The victors write the history books filled of fear, where the victims were conquered. Although to be conquered, you must first believe you are a victim. This is the choice that you too shall make. Victim or creator. Remember, victims choose fear and become paralyzed, and the vibration sent out by them is jagged and discordant. And this is a temporary choice for the purpose of learning. Chaos always accompanies times of great change. It is a dismantling process. It is now a dismantling of the control systems that have been in place for thousands of years. When chaos like this occurs, one is not certain of anything except for a certain aliveness that accompanies its arrival. It is clearly written in the Book of Earth that the more comfortable you feel, the more secure and the more complacent you feel, the easier it is for others to control and manage your thinking process. Chaos and confusion can serve many purposes, for it ultimately introduces new energy. For thousands of years, leadership has attempted to create order, to hold power over you, partly because you would not accept it for yourselves. So we ask you to question whose rules are being enforced. Question authority. Remember, there are plans within plans, which means many are hidden while some are out in the open. And no matter whose rules are the plans of the day, those of you who are wise and aware know there is always another plan, another option. An order so mysterious that one must initiate oneself to a new way of thinking just to perceive it. We Pleiadians do our best to describe this new potential in words so that you can capture the feeling and study them and nod your heads and say, yes, I am aware of this force of change. In your desire to fit in with 3D living, you have become so busy with building and constructing and owning and acquiring that you have forgotten about love. Throughout the last few cosmic ages, it appears that your ancestors did not have as many material objects and as much busyness to occupy themselves. They did not have the elaborate highway systems for traveling, or the electronics, or commerce, or sports, or entertainment that you do. Living was different for them, and they were much more alive than most of you. The season of change that you find yourself within asks you to be more alive. Chaos has its own order and creates an aliveness that balances and finely tunes the senses, making you more keenly aware of smells and flavors, especially if suddenly you have no money, and if the shelves in the store are suddenly empty and the food in the garden is 3 months from harvest. Chaos shall bring a new order, an order that has to do with spiritual organization, one with no head of the pyramid. The circle of the human family shall expand. Ancient legends are filled with tales of those who evoked higher powers, extraordinary magicians who appeared one moment and were gone the next, and of your legendary ancestors, the dragons, who both provoked and protected humankind. These stories are not mere flights of fancy or figments of imagination, or the whims of a delightful pen. The ethers are alive, and the electromagnetic multidimensional spectrum is a storehouse of frequencies through which you can surf various existences. In the later years of this fleeting moment in time, you will see radical changes everywhere. Structures of authority are crumbling, and the great halls of Congress and Parliament are turning into the farcical plays that they always were. This is not something to be seen as ominous or fearful. It is something that happens, and a groundswell of relief will arise within people, and a renaissance will appear, one based on a psychic connection and the interdependence of all humanity upon each other and all life on Earth. We see this realization in certain fragments and timelines of the Book of Earth. However, we cannot see everything. As we have said, some vistas are cordoned off, so there will be no interference, and you can deal with whatever you have created. And some of these timelines contain the same tyranny you have created in the past. And if it is a timeline of tyranny you continue to co-create, then you will find yourselves in a dark, dark corridor of time. This cordoned off area allows you to move forward uninterrupted into further darkness or into the light, whatever you choose, for at some point you must make a new choice. So the chaos ultimately brings you the opportunity to reconnect and manifest. And eventually you will discover what it is to be a community. Although for now you must each see if you are qualified to lead yourself. We know you are ready and qualified. The question is, do you? We can look at the book of Earth backward, forward, and sideways in time, and we see the impulses and the plans, the designing of family lines, the genetic matings, and the passing of certain traits through to all of you. However, the ruling families on your planet know the significance of the number 13, and they steer you away from its use, convincing you that it is a number of bad luck or evil. However, it is a key to the doorway of the mystery of power. And remember, you cannot avoid power. As humankind, more power is coming to you, and this is decreed in the books and by the force of creation itself. Before you can build a true community where you live connected with each other and with dimensional and celestial beings, you must first feel qualified to lead yourselves. Are you autonomous and in charge? Are you comfortable being the creator, the designer of your own reality? Are you ready as a global culture to create a calendar that is in harmony with Mother Nature, Father Sun, and Grandmother Moon? A calendar that does not bow down and supplicate to the Reptilian control mechanisms that have been in place for over 2,000 years? Could you possibly do that? This question is being asked of you, and once it is asked, you cannot turn your back on it. Do your best. Hold your chin high and your spine straight. Breathe into your lungs the fullness of the air. And drink into your body the deliciousness of the water. And feel the vibrating of the energies in your flesh and bones. And know that you are divine sovereignty, intimately connected with Mother Nature, Father Sun, and Grandmother Moon. Every single animal and plant on the planet already follows the natural calendar. No matter what probabilities and choices are presented, always know that Spirit is around you and speaks through you and to you and with you and for you if you let it, as your fiduciary and higher self and guardian angel. Allow yourself to speak the truth. Allow the truth to be spoken through you. You must be alert and gather your wits. Use discernment, as our tales constantly remind you. Remember, the magicians and the dragons always kept their secrets. And sometimes the dragons had wonderful gifts and enlivened numerous civilizations of your world. Perhaps now you are wondering, are these dragons, the creatures depicted in books and calendars and cards, are they real? You are living in a time when the word real, just as the word truth, needs redefinition, needs expansion. All of your legends and myths are true in one sense of the word. And at the closing of this 50-year nanosecond, the creatures in these myths and legends will all return. You will see them first in your imagination. And as the cells in your body release their story, when the earth vibrates at a new frequency and breathes a sigh of release through her magnetic field, you will find new data sprouting around you and from geysers of knowledge inside yourselves. Information will spring forth, and you will need each other to weave it all together and connect it to the whole. Remember, you are always being given threads. A piece of thread is fine in itself, but they need to be woven together to create a much finer tapestry. The implosion of knowledge leads you to your power as living biological beings, and this is happening to everyone, everywhere. People on the streets, those sequestered away in nursing homes, in hospitals, and people in prison are undergoing DNA upgrades. It is happening on the playgrounds, in the schools, in the workplace, and out in the fields and on farms and on mountaintops and in valleys. In every land where the sun rises and sets, the family of light and the family of dark live and play together. And what about those in between? Those who claim kin to neither family of dark or family of light and pretend neither exist. What would they think of this tale? A simply rambling, ranting rave? Who are those people? The Muggles. We ask you to ask yourself, after all, you are all humankind. Rather than claim over-allegiance to either the family of light or the family of dark, ground yourself and explore what you all have in common, your humanness. Your legends of dragons are rich, and richer still are the stories of the legendary lizards. Your ancient manuscripts and books that have been sequestered away, particularly in certain religious centers, place these lizards everywhere. Around the globe, in all the halls of knowledge, both physical and non-physical, you will find family of light willing to remember, willing to weave the story of unity and wholeness, of power and purposeful living, of sovereign divinity. The ancient lizards and dragons were fascinated with humans. As the story goes, they are responsible for your creation, after all. Or so they feel and believe. They have mated with you, studied you, taught you, cherished you, and helped you establish civilizations, and they have raised you to devour you and consume you. As third-dimensional beings, you see yourselves in one way. However, the legendary lizards, ancestors of all the ancient ones, the elders of so long ago, see you in a different way. You are only part human to them. Yet they see you across the full spectrum of multidimensional existence, and they know the strength of your humanity. And yet they count on your weak predictability so they may control you, while they also know that in the book of Earth, at this fleeting moment in time, a wild card has been dealt and is on the table. Everything you learned is being tested now, and the cream of the crop will produce the most exquisite of elixirs, the elixir of unconditional love. One of your tests today is understanding frequency, your ability to recognize it in others, and to know that you have always been producing it yourselves, and you always will continue to produce frequency even after you leave your physical body. Your challenge is to modulate your frequency, to change your mode of living from the repetition of dramas that usually zap your health and take your spirit away. You can call this transcending the shadow ego. You must learn to recognize what does not work for you, then release your fears of change. This action will modify the frequency and vibration that you broadcast. This lesson, dear friends, is being taught to you in galactic kindergarten. It is the essence of this current phase of your education. Raise your vibration. You will never be able to read the book of existence until you write your own pages in the book of Earth. Remember, as you enter the age of Aquarius, even though the marking of time is arbitrary and convenient and customized to local cultures, it is also part of a larger marking of the divine plan of evolution. Everything is coded. The cells in your body, your DNA that instructs your body to recreate cells. The air you breathe is coded. The water you drink is coded. The living biological library of planet Earth is coded, and so is the heavens. No matter what you think you invent or conjure or create or manifest into form, we remind you that it is never an isolated event that you are creating. Everything is always connected to everything else. Plans within plans within plans will reveal themselves, so we ask you, dear friends, to rest assured that as the family of light, wanting a peek into the book of Earth to see what lies ahead, there is something exquisite that you are creating. Exactly what it is, we do not know ourselves. We will do our best to inspire you to create a new vision of your future. However, you must create your fate. What do you want to build in this time of immense change? If your ancestors truly are living legends returning as dragons, reptiles, and multidimensional creatures, and as your biological human ancestors speak through your blood, And as all this new celestial energy comes to you, this sense of connectedness, of knowing that past mysteries had meaning, the symbols they left for you, the stones, the crosses, the pyramids, the crystals, the chalices, the caches of gold, the steeds of great power, and the beasts that surface from the deepest lakes. If all of this is real, what world will you then build? Those flat-worlders of 500 years ago could not even have imagined of these potentials when they set out in their ships. They forgot that they would become their own ancestors, and so they were easily steered to continue the destruction, the separation, and the disconnected meaninglessness they had been taught, and to continue the competition and striving for material achievement and ownership. You have equated power with material consumption, collection, and hoarding. Your culture encourages you to worship people who have vast mansions, enormous riches, fabulous jewels, and electronic trinkets to dazzle and befuddle the public. Is this wealth really power? Real power is in knowing the meaning of the song of the birds, feeling synchronized and harmonized to Mother Nature, feeling the song of the tree frogs, the buzz of the insects, the call of the whippoorwills, the mourning dove, the mockingbird, or the nightingale with its sweet sound at dusk, and the hoo 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 of the owls in the middle of the night. Your lizard and dragon ancestors were multifaceted in their abilities to live and adapt because they not only created the many aspects of your civilization, but intimately understood the weaknesses of humanity. They also knew your great strength, which is creativity. They have been doing their best to limit and focus your creativity. For without creativity, individuality and life itself withers and fades away. This is part of the problem humankind faces today. Your creativity has been focused on the accumulation of material goods and has allowed you to mindlessly produce without creating any meaning in your lives. You've engineered a sameness, a replication, a chasing of the financial dream to keep all of you moving along the same path. In these ensuing years of chaos, a new, great, unlimited creativity is arising, connected to the internal harmonization of both sides of your brain by the embodiment of the divine feminine intertwining with the divine masculine inside you all. When this occurs, you will truly understand that the management of energy is your only real quest for power. Many of your ancient indigenous cultures that are still alive today understand that the prime creatorix, mother, father, goddessness, is divine feminine and divine masculine, and therefore so is every human being. Align yourselves with these cultures. Do not be frightened of these times of change. If these words and concepts seem foreign to you, just remember your ancestors of 500 years ago, when a whole new world was opening up for them as well. For decades, and indeed hundreds of years afterwards, they traveled in ships on the rough oceans, still wondering if the great beasts of legends would arise from the seas and devour them. However, some of the voyagers on these ships saw the motions of objects from your future come out of the oceans at night. But these mysteries were kept very quiet. They knew if they spoke of such things, the label of insanity would be quickly laid upon them, and they might be thrown overboard. These last 500 years were times of great expansion. However, there was also an immense control over how you would perceive this expansion. In reflecting upon your ancestors throughout time, we ask you to open up to your genetic inheritance and to consider without judgment the challenges your ancestors faced and overcame. From the top of the mountain that you have now climbed, know that you are at the pinnacle of current comprehension. And therefore, what conclusions can you draw now? Looking back on your ancestry, what is the total of your knowledge? Does your wisdom inform your living? The dragons and lizards of renown are usually nameless creatures, but they are not formless. They have many personalities and are shapeshifters who embody a magnificent force. You have a similar force in your body. However, it has been hidden or even disavowed or beaten or enslaved and rarely encouraged to develop, especially in Western culture. Some traditions call this the fire of life, or the flame of existence, or the chakras, or the kundalini, or the inner serpent lying at the base of your spine, awaiting to awaken, or the feathered serpent. All traditions speak of and weave their meanings and symbolic interpretations around the legends of your ancestors, the great reptiles and dragons. Now, imagine that these creatures have been living around you the whole time, and yet have not been visible to your 3D eyes because they live in another dimension. The electromagnetic multidimensional spectrum, the band of existence, houses these reptilians right next to you, and yet you cannot see them. But they can see you. Earlier we suggested taking a nanosecond, a billionth of a second as you count time, and expanding it to 50 years worth of living, and we suggested you may have thought it would be empty. Yet in actuality, this is where the dragons dwell, where the ancient reptilian lineage that is your inheritance calls home. So, will you build a technology that breaks down time to examine your own seconds and discover new frontiers of territories within nanoseconds? If you accomplish this feat, have compassion for what you experience. Some of it might be rather dark. In addition, vistas of reality may appear to you, and then you will think them distinctly alive and real, as if you had turned the dial or changed the channel to suddenly find yourself poised in another world. And yet you will know, without a doubt, that you are still you in early 21st century Earth. This experience will eventually become commonplace. However, at first it may cause some degree of insanity, or at least extreme discomfort, even while others will have joyous experiences. You must encourage the exploration within these realms and create a vibration of safety. An exquisite opportunity exists through the services of your own personal fiduciary and higher self to enliven and uplift your spirit. Remember, set and setting always applies. You strive for this fulfillment when you decode the number 13 and see that the 26,000-year precession of the Equinoxes cycle divided by 13 rather than 12 actually makes perfect sense. The missing 13th slice has always been there, just like your 13 moons. We ask you to consider that the numbers 12 and 13 mean much more than you have been led to understood. We assure you of that. Through language and numbers, everything is coded backward and forward. As you learn to read energy, you will recognize it as your inheritance of power. And as you become managers of energy, both your own and that which is external to you, you will see the aliveness and purposefulness of existence, and that deception cannot hold truth any longer. And what, may you ask, is truth? Truth is where no secrets are kept, and that's the truth. A healing occurs in the sharing of knowledge and in the revelation of secrets. Secrets are very hard to keep. They weigh a lot and are heavy and burdensome. Even if the secrets themselves are true, they are often the beginning of the telling of lies. One lie breeds another, and liars attract liars, as this is the nature of lies. Only the shadow ego lies. On your world, power has not been shared as energy. It has been held in secrecy based on lies. We ask you to consider that those in positions of power are actually magicians of energy, dark though they may be. Whether they are self-willed and self-proclaimed, or just puppets in total ignorance. Leaders are jugglers of energy, and knowing this, we ask each of you now to juggle your own energy. To know that energy is free and around you and within you, and waiting for you to direct it. You are the conductor of a magnificent symphony of creative energy that will outperform everything that has been staged on your planet thus far. The ancient ones, the dragons, the reptilians, wait. They want to be discovered, to return to Earth, and to reveal what they know without harming you. But you must create the frequency within yourselves to see them and to assist them to heal whatever traumas they have created in their own family lines. And there are many. It is not only you who must heal your individual self. You must heal your family line, and you must heal all of humanity, and you must heal your creators, the reptilians, and all of existence is looking to benefit from this healing, energetic outpouring. What is healing, and how do you know when you've been healed? A flow of energy and light accompanies a healing, and this flow of energy fills you with confidence and faith to move forward. It is a connection of what you call spirit, a connection to all of existence. And healing can be merely the reinterpretation of what you believe happened to you. Your suffering occurs because of how you feel you have been treated. And because you hold such strong feelings, you have become afraid of all feelings. And your feelings are where you keep yourselves trapped as prisoners. Suppressed feelings build and accumulate like a ball of yarn. They can block the flow of energy in your being. And sometimes that ball needs to be completely unraveled and then rewoven into a meaningful pattern rather than an ugly blockage of the flow. Energy is energy. It responds to your intent and to electrical impulses. Emotions are energy. Thoughts are energy. Additionally, your own internal energy will grow rapidly as Mother Earth is giving her magnetic sigh. And as this magnetic field lessens its grip on your thoughts and emotions, and as Father Sun sends an increase of energy towards the earth, the elements in your periodic table begin to jiggle and dance in a new way, and molecules everywhere on Earth begin to speed up, opening new paradigms of experience to be discovered in the quantum realms that have always been here. Now that you have scaled the peaks, You know you must manage your own internal energy in order to design your future. We, the Pleiadians, see various probable futures, and all time jumpers are very aware of that. And at this point in time, a number of probabilities spring from Earth. And from this peak, you can see that you have much to consider. Take it easy on this journey. Be happy, knowing that you will always learn more. And the more you learn, the more there is to learn. Be humble and give thanks for every experience and every relationship you have ever had, as the force of existence responds to your attitude of gratitude and sends you more experiences and relationships to be grateful for.